Howdo, boyos. You know me, I'm the Foxman, but you can call me Zach. Let me take you back to the early 2000s, a time of amazing happenings in the video game world. Halo was taking its first baby step, Nintendo debuted a system that was more of a box than the Xbox, love the irony by the way, and a bunch of licensed games came out that didn't completely and utterly suck. I'm looking at you, Telltale. Sorry. And it was during this time that a small little company from the land down under by the name of Krome Studios decided to jump into the fray with their newest mascot and my personal favorite, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. This game was my favorite back in my Foxkid days, and it's still one of my favorites now. But pushing that nostalgia aside, does the Aussie hold up? Or does it deserve a fate far worse than the IGN score it got? Well, that's what I'm here for. Let's get it on.
This billabong has got the lot. Gum trees, wallabies, and even a koala. There's plenty to do here, so let's get a move on.
Ty is playing in the forest with his little Bilby foster brother when he falls into a hidden cavern underground. He then meets the Bunyip Elder, who then tells Ty the truth about his real parents. They, along with the rest of the Tasmanian Tigers, tried to stop the evil genius boss Cass from obtaining 5 mystic talismans, which he planned to use to banish all mammals to the Dreamtime. They ultimately fail, but they manage to scatter the talismans across the outback before the boss can use them to get rid of the rest of the mammals. Having learned this, and learning how Boss Cass is trying to find the talismans again, he vows to go and find them first and free his race and family from the Dreamtime. With the help of his cockatoo friend Maury, he meets a koala scientist named Julian who has invented a device that can not only find the talismans, but teleport them straight to them. Strike me lucky. But obviously that takes a lot of energy, so Julian suggests gems called Thunder Eggs to power the machine. So, Ty goes through portals to different zones invented by Julian to find Thunder Eggs to find the talismans and ultimately stop Boss Cass. Not gonna lie, going back to this years later, I realized the story isn't exactly the most original thing out there, but hey, it works for this game. Besides, the idea of saving your entire race is a huge step from the standard, evil bad guy is bad, go get him trope. So yeah, the story's a bit basic, but hey, it works.
Welcome to the Great Barrier Reef, full of beautiful fish, friendly natives, and inviting sandy beaches. It's a beaut spot for a swim if you know how.
Ty the Tasmanian Tiger is basic 3D platformer fare, in that if you have an inkling of an idea of how to run and jump, you should be able to pick up and play this game fairly easily. Ty doesn't have a double jump ability like most protagonists in 3D platformers, but with 2 boomerangs he has the ability to glide short distances that make platforming a little bit easier. Also, don't ask how this works. Video games, just go with it. Ty's main method of attack is throwing his boomerangs to hit enemies from a distance, and a bite attack for close range attacks, though this one is a little less helpful for fast moving enemies. He can also enter a first person mode to aim his throws, which is useful for solving many puzzles. Speaking of puzzles, that brings me into the main gameplay aspect, collecting Thunder Eggs for Julian's talisman finding machine, leaving the main hub world of Rainbow Cliffs and entering various zones through portals a la Crash Bandicoot. Each zone has a total of 8 Thunder Eggs, and the way you collect them range from just finding them laying around to doing various tasks for NPCs of the zone. In addition to the Thunder Eggs, you'll find these glowing opals along the ground and in crates. Collecting all 300 of them in the stage and you can collect a Thunder Egg. And it looks like Boss Cass made it a little personal for Ty, trapping the Bilbies that raised him in cages. Bust out all 5 of them hidden in each zone and you'll collect a Thunder Egg. Collect at least 17 Thunder Eggs in order for Julian to power the machine and find a talisman to fight the boss of that area. Beat the boss and you collect the talisman and unlock access to the next area. You'll also find golden cogs hidden in each level, which you can take to Julian in Rainbow's Cliffs to power another one of his machines to make techno rings, provided you have 15 that is. And in addition to the techno rings, completing each chapter will reward you with an elemental ring. In addition to being stronger than your standard boomerang, these rings are very useful in puzzles throughout the zone, which will lead you to even more golden cogs and Thunder Eggs. And bear in mind, this is just scratching the surface. This game is a collectathon through and through. Though your main goals are always the Thunder Eggs, there is a crap ton of stuff to collect other than that. This is a game that heavily rewards exploration, and that's something I'm a big fan of in games. There's also a few moments that allow a change in strategy, like surfing rapids in the rainforest, going first person to lay the smackdown on a gang of lizard thugs, or even a few water levels that don't feel like swimming through thick jelly. But as much fun as the zones are to explore, I can't say the same about fighting the bosses. In fact, with the exception of 2, the bosses are either way too easy, way too tedious, or both. So all in all, the gameplay is fun, the controls are good, and you'll always have something to do when you play.
There's nothing quite like a moonlit billabong. Except maybe a moonlit billabong full of giant roaches, spiders and bats.
The look of the game is pretty nice for an early 2000 game. Okay, granted, it's no Mario, but hey, the game design gives off a nice mix of Australian outback and that well-known Saturday morning cartoon vibe. The different zones feel alive, especially with little fauna crawling and hopping around, and each zone is fairly large, so even when there's a set path, you'll have plenty of room to explore and see. The character designs also have a Saturday morning cartoon vibe to them, and so do the bosses and enemies. The game also has CGI cutscenes, but while they're well made, the contrast from the normal game graphics is kinda startling, and it looks very stiff. So, the design overall is good, the graphics are alright, and for the vibe the game was going for, it works.
Oh, smell that fresh rainforest air. See the cute wallabies. Surf the slippery water slide. Watch out for those witches.
The music of the game is great. As you can tell, the developers tried their best to fit each of the zone's themes pretty well, while still giving off that Down Under vibe to them. Have a listen. The effects are pretty basic, but they work for what the game needs them for. Though I hope you like the sound of boomerangs being thrown, because you're going to hear that sound a lot. The voice acting is pretty solid, and like most of the game, has that Aussie vibe down pat. One of my favorites is Ty himself, to the point of for a while, instead of saying awesome, I would say Bonza! That said, there are a few hiccups in the voice acting. Some of the characters sound like they're trying way too hard to be cool or intimidating, but come off as annoying instead. So, the voice acting is mostly solid, the music is great, and the sound effects, This game was my personal gem back in my younger years, but looking at it now without the rose-colored glasses on, I can say that while the game is still fun to play, it can be described in one single word: basic. This is a basic 3D platformer, no fancy bells and whistles attached. There's nothing too innovative about it, but it's still a fun little game to play for anyone who's played Mario, Spyro, or Crash Bandicoot and wants something a little different. And its creator, Krome Studios, seems to think so as well. They've since made HD remakes of not only the original game, but also the 3 sequels as well, and it's available on Steam even now as we speak. Should talk about the sequels at some point. All in all, the game is good for anyone who's a fan of 3D platformers, though in no way the most groundbreaking. I scored Ty the Tasmanian Tiger a 7.8 out of 10. And that was my review of Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. If you like what you saw, subscribe, like, share the video, hit that notification bell to let you know when I'm releasing a new video, and who knows, maybe I'll do more reviews. But until then, I'm Foxman Zach, and I will catch you guys on the wild side. So long!